Hello, listener. I'm Kate Henson, your in-house passionate political change maker.
And I'm Wendy Peipenberg, a lifetime psychic medium.
And we are friends.
And we are the Living with Purpose podcast.
Welcome.
And enjoy today's episode.
Hello, listener. Welcome back to Living with Purpose podcast. If you can believe it, we are on episode 5 already of season 2.
Woohoo!
Right? Yeah, we need to celebrate that. And there are some special people that we want to say hello to before we get started.
Enjoying the podcast in Canada, eh? We love you. We love our sister nation.
Absolutely.
We love all the nations.
We do. And we can't not say hi to everybody because this is fantastic to see the range. So, we've also got Brazil and Vietnam, Hong Kong. Hello, everybody there.
Bolivia, Iraq, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Jordan, Hong Kong. Hello. I'm so excited.
I mean, I'm just overwhelmed. I love that this reaches this far. We didn't anticipate this. So I think this next episode is going to be one that resonates with everybody, no matter where you are, because I know it happens to all of us, where you get stuck because there is some kind of drama or nonsense happening. And one of two things is going to happen. You're either paralyzed, you're not focusing on your purpose because maybe you lost your job or you're...
Yeah, a traumatic time in your life, a traumatic event, a traumatic...
All of a sudden you don't have health
feeling.
care, your relationship is on the rocks, whatever it may be, right? Either you are just absolutely frozen. So you don't get out of that ick because you can't. Or you're like a mouse on a wheel and you're just craving more and more and more drama. And either way, you're focused on the wrong thing.
Right. And we want to talk about how to not indulge not only your own trauma, but sometimes we can have a tendency to even indulge in the drama that our husband is experiencing, or our wife, or our boss, or a friend, or anybody that you could have any kind of relationship with. It doesn't mean that we don't feel our feelings. It doesn't mean that we dismiss what that person is going through. But there's a big difference between listening and being there and being present and almost overindulging those emotions, because everything's energy. What you put your energy to grows. So how do we, like in Moonstruck, she said, snap out of it. Share in that scene, snap out of it. How do we do that and help those we love?
How do you politely slap them across the face
how do you do
and
it?
scream that in
How do
their
you
face?
snap out of it? I need to snap out of it. It was interesting. I was in the car getting ready to go to Pilates very early this morning, and a Pretenders song came on. I really like the Pretenders. They have a song called Never Do That. And the lyric is, let me stay one more day. I won't make a sound. I'll just hang around. I'll sit where the last one sat. No, I'll never do that. Do you know? It's like a claiming of, I'm not going to be what that person expects me to be. Enough is enough, right? So in this case, I was thinking about relationship. I have a friend going through a lot of heavy stuff in a relationship and is very empathic and very sensitive and thinks, no, I want this to be with this person so much that I'll just put up with whatever. And we're saying, never do that.
Never. That's so sad.
Well, Chrissy Hines said it in the song first, but hi, Chrissy. We love you too. But it's, you matter in every relationship. And you could easily indulge that kind of a thing, right? That would be traumatic. If you gave up your power and you just did that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, how to not relinquish your own power.
We have so little control in what happens in our lives that giving any bit of your power away is an awful idea.
It's a terrible idea.
But I think we can start with, there's a difference between awareness and attachment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great place to wherever, if it's your own situation or somebody else's, if you're in awareness, you're just noticing something happened.
Yes.
My job was downsized. Whereas attachment is saying, this will always define me. You're not always going to be unemployed. You're
Mm-hmm.
not always going to be,
In
you
that
know,
circumstance, whatever it is.
yeah, yeah. And you saying this will always define me. One, my therapist said you can never use use definitives like that, although I just did. Um, but that's part of you putting out that negative energy. If you're saying I'm always going to be unemployed, well, then obviously the universe,
Yeah.
you're blocking, and the universe is
Yeah.
never going to be able
I'm
to send you
never
the
going to
next thing.
fall in love.
Right.
I'll never be loved.
Yeah.
Awareness also says, this experience affected my energy. I was affected. I feel something about this. Attachment would say, someone else controls my energy. It's different. It's a totally different vibration,
Hmm.
those statements. This experience affected me, or someone else is controlling me emotionally. Good things to look at.
I can say that I can think back to certain situations where I've been in the attachment throughout my life. I think it's just something that you have to learn and grow over time, because it's easy to just be in the attachment if you don't realize the bigger picture.
What's
And
possible if you
yes.
don't realize possibility. When you're feeling, I was thinking about this in relationship too. I've been just thinking about relationship a lot lately. With the song, this experience, like I'm affected by this experience. I love this person. They really hurt me. But that's a healthy place to be in that type of awareness versus I am going to be swung around by the tail based on what their mood is. But we have to be really careful when we're in situations where we're we're so concerned about them and what's going to make them comfortable that we sacrifice our own
Hmm.
needs, desires, wants in relationship, and we can get we can kind of get flipped around by the tail by that. So where are you unwillingly or unknowingly handing away your power? You're going to feel the discomfort. That's going to be probably your first indicator. What do
Oh,
you say?
yeah, I agree with that.
Yep.
So that brings us to the next phase. You have this inkling that something is wrong. So what are some practical ways to reclaim that power that you've unknowingly given away? It can just be as simple as sitting down and asking yourself, does the belief that, I love this person, or I want to be with this person, or I want to have this job, or I want to move to that city, does it create freedom, or does it create chronic fear? And then you just have to become curious, because it's
Mm-hmm.
neither good nor bad. It just is. You need the information in order to make a good decision. Not the right decision, but the next right decision.
Right. It's so important to recognize what you're feeling. And that can be fairly easy to do. Fear and freedom feel very different. So when you're feeling fear and you're in the worry and the anxiety of something around, then yeah, something's out of alignment there. We've talked about that in the past, where if you're doing something, you're just banging your head against the wall about something for a really long time. Something's out of alignment.
Mhm.
You might not know what it is yet, but if you're in that kind of fear and that's happening, it's a very different feeling from feeling like it's going to work out. Like somehow I just trust. I have this intuition, or I have this feeling like somehow it's going to be okay. I don't have all the answers as to how I'm going to get there yet, or what I need to say, or what I need to do in this circumstance, but I just feel like it's really going to be okay. You can shift your thinking from fear to freedom when you catch yourself in the fear.
Absolutely.
You can
It
shift it.
it's a skill. It's
It's a
just one of those
skill.
things you have to learn.
And I think it's a decision.
This is true. Yeah.
You can decide to do that. You know, you,
In my head, I'm thinking about, if you just said fear and freedom are two different things.
Yes.
When you think about the person who plays the victim all the time, I
Mhm,
was trying to decide, is that fear or is that something else? But regardless, there are those people who perpetrate
mhm.
this continuation of the drama because they are playing the victim. And
Yeah.
maybe it is fear. And it's always, oh, why did this happen to me?
Mhm,
And in actuality, you should be asking yourself, what is this asking me to learn?
Mm-hmm.
This is a teachable moment, and whatever lesson you are meant to learn in that moment is going to take you far. And
Yes. And that is living with awareness. But some people really like to indulge the drama and the trauma. It's good to bring awareness that that is happening when you're indulging that with a loved one or when you're just indulging that with yourself.
you talked about intuition,
Mm-hmm.
and for lots of reasons, you know, women and men both have intuition, but when women have it, it's frowned upon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that tamping down on that is part of why women suffer from anxiety at greater rates.
Mm-hmm.
So learning to separate your intuition from your anxiety, caring for it, nurturing it,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking about, does the insight that you glean from paying attention to, are you in a state of awareness or a state of attachment? Is the insight that you glean from your intuition, is it bringing you clarity, or is it just making it more confusing?
Yeah. Are you feeling love or are you feeling fear?
Are you feeling peace or are you feeling panic? I can
Right.
think of times where I've thought the panic was actually, oh, that's all right, everything's working out,
Mm-hmm.
of- in my garbled brain. But no, that's not true. Panic does not equal peace.
It doesn't. And it's easy to just fall into that, to fall into fear. And again, it's like being willing to see something differently, look at other possibilities. And I just wanted to say, it's interesting because we were talking about women's intuition and we talk about women's intuition a lot. It's a real thing. It's a
Yes, it
real
is.
thing. We have experiences that men don't have. But it's interesting. As we were talking about this, I was actually thinking of a man that I know who is so empathic and so sensitive and so intuitive. So we don't want to forget that there are men, not maybe to the degree that
Okay.
women have, but we are also speaking to men who have that part of
I
themselves
think
alive and kicking.
that's another example of how ingrained misogyny is. It doesn't just affect women.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just male to female.
Mm-hmm.
It's female to female.
Uh-huh.
And then occasionally it's female to male because
Yeah.
we just the way we're programmed to see the world.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a problem for another podcast, though.
So basically, we're talking about how do you shift your attention from attachment to awareness? How do you reclaim your power? Where do you put boundaries in place? Um, and how do you begin to regulate your nervous system when you're going through big things?
The greatest protection any human being can have is a well regulated nervous system
Mm-hmm.
with healthy boundaries and self awareness.
Yes.
But it starts with the regulated nervous system because you can't really do the other things well if you're not regulated. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes back to living through your intuition instead of fear. So, how do we constantly stop scanning for danger? Which partly
Mm.
this is because that's how our brains formed. And I like to call, you know, the amygdala, I call
Mhm.
it Stevie. And sometimes Stevie is
Do you know that Anne Lamott calls God Phil?
no.
Yeah.
Oh,
Isn't
that's
that a
funny.
funny
Yeah.
author?
I love that.
I know.
Oh, Julia Louis-Dreyfus had her on the Wiser Than Me podcast
She
for
did?
season 1, I believe. Yeah, it was a really good episode.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
Definitely listen to that. But Stevie doesn't always make the best decisions, right? Stevie is worried that a mountain lion is the one rustling in the bushes behind me.
Mhm.
And so it's an
And it's a
active
4-year-old with a candy.
yes. Yeah, you have to consciously make the effort to grow your understanding about the way your brain works and then do something different. You have to go against the grain. Our brains were not designed to live in this world. I'm putting my hands up, listener, like you can see me, and I'm making gestures about this whole world. Are you kidding me? AI? No. We were built
Mhm.
initially because we're like, how do we make fire? How do we find shelter? How do we find food? Everything else, our brains are still catching up to how to live in this world.
Mhm.
So it's not a ding on anybody who's not there. It's
Yeah.
we are all in this together and we know it's hard. We just need to acknowledge it.
Mhm. And recognize where you are and recognize that you're further ahead than some people and there are other people that are ahead of you. That's just the truth for all of us.
We have to bring everybody along with us.
Yes. I always think about this boss when I worked in San Francisco when I was very young and I worked in art galleries, and that's what, world I grew up in a bit. Um, Her name is Jenkins Johnson. She runs art galleries, and she's amazing. And she was one of the most incredible bosses I ever had. One of the greatest leaders and one of the greatest art gallery owners I'd ever worked with. And I think about her all the time. She really stands out because I just learned so much about having integrity, working with integrity, just being the best human I could be because she set that example. To me, she was really a great spiritual teacher. Karen Jenkins Johnson. I think she has galleries in New York. I think San Francisco still. I want to check her out. But thank you, Karen. You think of
Yeah, thank
people
you so much.
when you think of people, who do you think about when you think about people that were some steps ahead of you as you were on your journey and who you would look to for advice or who you knew? Like I can really learn a lot from that person because a lot of the time we have bosses or we have people who we've worked with and we're just like, oh, this is excruciating. I
I've
don't know. I
had the
don't feel like I'm
same
learning.
boss for about 24 years. So
Wowza.
I did learn so much from them. I have to say, I was at a point in my career in the early 2000s where I worked for men and they were fantastic. They let me, I think we've talked about this, put a nursery in when I had the babies, and they're
Mhm,
very flexible with my schedule. But it still wasn't the same as having a woman in that position to learn from. Uh, so, I mean, that spawned a whole other business. But I did learn so much from Frank and from Kelly. And there's a woman, Sonia Sefabam is her name.
mhm,
And she is the first female leader that I remember seeing where she walked into the room and I was just in awe.
mhm,
And I only spent a couple days with her. We lost touch for a while, but just a couple months ago, she popped back up on my LinkedIn and I was compelled to send her an email. And I was like, I don't know if you remember me, but here was the event that we were at. It was when you just got hired in. And this is the impact that it had on me.
mhm,
I think it's important to share those stories with women
mhm,
so they know what's going on and that they
mhm,
have this reach so that we have more women showing up to provide
mhm,
that kind of support
mhm.
to each
Yeah, I
other.
love that.
And on one hand, we need those women, and I can't say enough good things about Karen or Sonia or all the
Mhm,
other women in the world. Look at the great work these leaders are doing,
mhm,
yet look at who's leading our country.
right. So we have a responsibility to lift each other up
Yeah.
because we have also in the past been taught for women to be jealous or envious or pit one against the
Mhm.
other, where, that's very different teaching than, hey, you're part of the good old boys club,
That's part of
right?
the internalized misogyny.
Yes,
It's not a pie. Just because I get more recognition or I get a job doesn't mean there's less for anybody else.
exactly,
That's just
exactly.
a way for them to continue to control and take our power. So the more
Yes.
people realize that, certainly the better.
I was watching
Lee.
some little clips on Instagram the other night, and it was just women saying, "Hey," like rolling down their windows saying to other women, "You look great. I love your energy. We just want to say hi," some compliments.
Mhm.
Have a great day. Just really sharing and spreading the love and the reminders that you're beautiful and worthy and capable. And life does get hard and we go through traumatic things. And it's good to think about these people that came before us and led us.
Mhm.
And at our best, we want to be a part of
That's
that too.
part of growing the collective light. That's how
Yeah,
we're gonna get through the mess that we're in. Listeners, I challenge you to do that. Gauntlet
mhm.
has been thrown. After you listen to this podcast, find a random stranger and say something nice to them.
I think it's such a great idea. One thing I didn't want to skip over
Yeah.
when we were talking about regulating your nervous system and having boundaries in place,
Mhm.
and really paying more attention to your peace and the feeling of that than indulging in the negative is how important it is to ground yourself. And for me, that's walking around barefoot a little bit outside or just separating myself from a situation, just getting quiet. For me, very spiritual thing. Be still and know that I am God, like getting quiet with God whatever you call your God,
Mhm.
and resting, meditating.
I like to meditate.
Mhm,
You do not have to have an altar, you do not have to have a rug, you do not have to do it for a certain amount of
mhm,
time. It's just a moment to go inside and get right with yourself.
mhm.
Uh,
Watching a sunset is a
yes.
meditation.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would like to do the barefoot thing, but I don't like dirty feet. But a walk, just walking around the neighborhood without a cell phone always does wonders for me.
So I wanna roll in the mud. I love learning about our
I would do a
differences.
mud bath
You
at a
would?
spa.
Okay, yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
wanna just go out
I
in a
do
mud
love the
puddle, though.
spa. You know what I was thinking about? And this is a little bit of a tangent. In America, when it rains, everybody runs inside. I never did that. I really do you know
It's always fun to play in the rain.
yeah. It
Yeah.
snows, it rains, you just put on more. Just enjoy nature.
The
Spend
girls
time in nature.
Yeah, the girls and I were in New York last week to visit, family, and the first day we got there, right, it had been a long day of travel, and there was a park nearby, Domino Park, and as soon as we got there, of course, it started to drizzle,
Mm.
and the littlest one started to freak out, and I was like, "You're not gonna melt." And can I tell you, once she just got over herself,
Mhm.
we had the best time. New York in the rain for me is just magical.
There's a quietness that comes over the city when it rains, and the hustle and bustle feels a little less hustle and bustly.
I am gonna give props to Mayor Mamdani. I don't know if all the credit goes to him, but he certainly gets a lot of the credit. The energy and the vibe there was
Mm.
totally different. I've been there lots of times throughout my life, and there's always this buzz, but it's got a little edge to it. That edge is gone.
Mhm.
It just seems so smooth and calm and welcoming, and it was a lovely thing to be in
I
when you're
love
trying to find your
that.
peace and your
I
purpose.
love that because we don't always think of New York City as the most peaceful place, but, we are on the heels of the World Cup, and we
Sure.
loved when the Scots came over and the East Coast, Boston, ran out of beer, and everybody was having a fantastic time, and a lot of people from Europe, the first place they do land is New York, and
That's
that is nothing new.
Mhm.
That was when the beginning of our country, that's where people first came in, and we're 250 years old this year. I love the energy of bringing the world together, and that New York was recently a very big part of that, the entire East Coast.
Yeah, there was definitely lots of soccer
Yeah.
jerseys and
Mhm.
outfits, and
People from everywhere.
people were on the plane, and the flight attendant had to do the announcement. She's like, "I'm so sorry, I'm interrupting your soccer," because everybody is they're yelling from the different seats, "Do you see that? Oh my gosh," and clapping and booing, and
Yeah.
I
We
don't know
said
what I watched,
soccer.
but it was not that.
Yeah.
I am happy for other people who would like to watch sports.
It's interesting too, you think in New York, there's Central Park, which is nature,
Mhm.
and you can get a little respite, a little
I have a little bit of a I don't know. I've got mixed feelings about Central Park because it
mm,
is beautiful
mhm,
and it's a lovely thing to see and walk through, and you get to be in nature. But
mm.
they did demolish a thriving Black community to make that park.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So it's
Mm, that's not good.
no, a little bit of a double edged sword.
Yes, indeed, it would be. It's good to talk about the history of places
Hmm.
and where they were and where they are now and where we want them to go.
Yeah. You have to have a vision, whether it's for your city or your home or just yourself, and
And
think big.
thinking about how important it is to choose healthy relationships and to create more healthy relationships. And then that goes out into the collective too
Hmm.
and shines a light on the things that aren't so healthy so that we can transform and transcend them, which is completely related to things like, yeah, indulging your trauma or your drama. We all know people who are just, listen, they've made up their minds, they're just not going to change. Somehow indulging their trauma accommodates them, and we don't have to figure out why that is in every situation. Because I know I want to know why. Well, why are they like this? And why do they do this? And da da da. And we can tend to almost overanalyze. And to me, that's in some way
Indulging. Yeah,
indulging
I
a
agree.
little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to know when to walk away, or, you've spent 15 minutes or you've spent an hour and a half or 2 hours talking with someone about that, but it doesn't serve them or you to continue to do that too much, you almost have to shake it up, right? Like, okay, great. Okay, I have every confidence you're going to figure that out. Let's go get some ice cream, right?
That's a good one.
And keep a sense of humor. I think it's really important to keep a sense of humor. You're not diminishing what they're going through, but it's like, okay, I've been there. You can be there for as long as you need to be there for a person, but it's also really important to shift your focus,
Setting a boundary.
set a boundary, shift a focus, maybe have an idea about what else you can talk about or something else that you can do together. Physically move out of the space or physically do something different.
When I was younger, there were a group of us that would hang out, and there was one girl who, yeah, looking back, hindsight is 2020, and I knew the first time I met her, I did not get a good feel.
Hmm.
But I was new to the group, and I didn't wanna make waves, so I just went along to get along. But it got to a point a couple years in where I was like, "This is not serving me. This is not healthy. I don't wanna be a part of it." But to extricate myself would have meant having to extricate myself from several friends.
Yeah, the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I found a way to do that, though. I didn't engage. Like,
Mhm.
we could all still hang out, but I
Right.
wasn't gonna go out of my way
Right.
to be friendly because
Yeah.
it wasn't reciprocated.
I just feel like
So
wrap your energy up in that.
yes, yes.
Right.
Folk I shared my energy with the others in the group, but when we were in a group setting, I wasn't
Yeah.
mean about it. It
Yeah.
was very cordial, but I just kept my energy
Yes.
close to the chest, the
Keeping a
head,
healthy
everything.
distance
Yeah.
is keeping a boundary,
Mhm.
a healthy boundary.
Yeah.
When you recognize that that person's were there and there's a negativity to it.
I think this is related, not necessarily totally. We give a lot of energy and airtime and thought to romantic relationships,
Mhm. Mm,
and they are important and they have their place. Female friendships, however, are something that I would venture to say are even more important,
mm,
and we don't give them the same attention or care or love or understanding. And so when you think about choosing a healthy relationship, really deciding which of your friends are adding to
mhm,
your journey and your life and your energy and which ones are not.
mhm,
And I'm not saying you have to get rid of the ones that are not. You just maybe focus more on the ones that are. And the book, I can't think of the author, but it's called Text Me When You Get Home. And this
mhm,
book is a couple years old.
mhm,
That was an eye opener for me. And it was the first time where I realized she is so right.
mhm,
We are dependent upon each other for so many things as far as female friendships go.
mhm,
But now we have this, not now, it's been around for a while, but like the frenemies and
mhm.
the mean girls. And in actuality, those are constructs that are kind of made up. And it's
Well,
just because you don't understand each other and you're
yes,
you're not
yes.
setting good boundaries.
But also going back to what we were talking about we as women, we have been taught to in ways to not necessarily embrace each other and really lift each other up. So
That's the only way we're getting out of this mess.
those relationships are critical. And remembering too that your happiness is an inside job and and the outside you want to choose those healthy relationships. Remembering that happiness, the happiness that resides within you is where you need to lean. And the expectation that you can be unhappy and someone's going to come along and suddenly they will be your happiness. This is a chronic problem
Yeah,
in the
looking for that
world.
outside validation.
Looking for that outside person thinking, well, when I get married, when I meet this person, when I whatever, that then I'll be happy. Happiness is not something that you want to put off. I hate to say this, you might never meet that person. You are likely to, but you have a better chance of having a true partnership like we experience with our girlfriends.
Mhm.
And when you have found happiness within yourself and you've just attracted it, it's not always about going out and seeking anything. When you're happy within yourself, you will attract that and you will be strong. so that when things go awry in that relationship, you can move like a willow tree, really grounded, but light on top, and nothing can shake you. What we're really talking about is not giving your power away to that person that you waited and waited and waited and waited forever for. And now they're here and you realize they're just human and they probably don't know as much as you do anyway. So, and you put all your eggs in that basket.
Can I talk about the aha
Oh, yeah.
moment?
Oh, yeah. Talk about your aha.
This is a great tool. And
the burger thing
the
that you
burger,
said
yeah.
earlier. It made me laugh.
Okay. There is I do my best to be really cognizant when we're putting these topics together about hopefully not making anybody feel worse than they already do, because it does take work to make all of this happen. It's not, you can go see a psychic, you can go to do tarot, you can go chat with your girlfriend, you can
Go to a therapist.
yeah, all of these things, which are all important. But if you don't put the work in that you need to do in your brain, none of this.
Yeah, there's no magic wand.
Right. And I
I wish I had a magic wand every day.
Right. Have you seen the wands that you can put your credit card in to do the tap? So it looks like a fairy wand, and you can just look like you're paying with a magic wand. I digress.
Is there light and
It
rainbows?
does light up. I believe it lights up.
Okay, getting there.
We'll have to look it up when we get done here. So the burger thing, we can talk about this stuff all day long, and we can tell you how important it is to be grounded and to set boundaries and to meditate and uh, feel the good feelings as a way to manifest whatever you want. You can also talk about flipping the burger on the grill all day long, but it will never flip unless you actually do it. So you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
And
sometimes it's a little bit of work, like flipping a burger.
yeah. And then,
sometimes it's a lot of work.
yeah.
Like tearing the house down and starting over.
Ripping a tree out by the roots. Yeah, it is a spectrum. And we want this podcast to be a place where you can come for support, regardless of where you're at on that spectrum. The other thing, when you talk about the tools and the techniques to help you get there, maybe I've told this story before. So right after having my first daughter, if you have children, you can relate to what it's like in the first couple of years. And we do live in a patriarchal society. So default parent here, I am cutting the vegetables at the end of the night after we've already put the kids to bed. And well, I guess it was one kid at that point. But I was still working full time. I'm just tired.
You both worked all day.
We both worked all day. Yep. And also my husband snored. It sounded like a freight train. So I wasn't sleeping because the baby wasn't sleeping. And even when I would get to lay down, he was snoring. There was one time where I picked up the pillow and I just started beating him about the head with the pillow. And then he started to stir. So I laid back down and he's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh, sorry, just flipping over." Oh, and there was one night I just was losing my mind. And I did get out my phone and I did a Google search for how not to murder your husband, because I was at my wit's end. And down this long, dark internet hole, I found this technique called AHA. And it's A, acknowledge, H, halt, and then A, take action. And I am trying to soak in this knowledge at whatever time in the middle of the night it was, because I'm too pretty for jail. I don't look good in orange. I would never survive.
Julie would never harm a fly. But it doesn't mean that you don't have really heightened emotions, that you're like, I'm about to lose my mind.
Right. So the next day, we get up, we do it all over again. I'm in the kitchen cutting up more vegetables. And you can see the couch from the kitchen. And I see my husband laying on the couch, just relaxing. And I have a knife and the cutting board and I'm chopping, and my chopping just keeps getting stronger and harder and faster. And I'm getting really upset because I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm chopping all these vegetables and he's just laying there. And and then by some miracle in my sleep deprived manic state, all of a sudden I just hear, aha. I said, oh, that's right. Acknowledge. I acknowledge that I am spiraling right now. Halt. Okay, I'm going to stop spiraling because this is not getting me anywhere. Take action. And I just poked my head around and I said, I need you to help me cut these vegetables.
Yeah. You had to regulate your nervous system.
Yes. Yes. I did some deep breathing in between all of
This
that.
is huge. Ask for what you want
Yeah. Yeah.
and what you need.
And he did get up and cut the vegetables.
Yeah.
So it was,
He didn't even know. He probably didn't even know.
no, he had no idea
Right?
how
You were
close he was.
smiling.
Yeah.
Because this is his pet. He's just used to coming home and hanging out on the couch, and you're used to coming home and doing all the work.
Mm-hmm.
Things are shifting now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're realizing to have real partnership that we have to have real partnership.
Mm-hmm. It's a big change.
It's a big change and it's an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now I bet when he sees you cutting vegetables when he walks in, he's, honey, do you need some help? I hope.
We're not that far yet, Wendy.
Okay, that's
He
okay.
does cook dinner every
It's a
night, though.
process. I said to somebody here, I said, process is the journey. Things that are in process, it's part of the journey. It's part of your journey. Accept that.
I call everything a practice.
There you go.
Life is a practice. I can respond to the children appropriately and correctly one day, but then be overwhelmed the next day and not do it so great.
Right.
I just got to keep practicing.
Right. And your purpose grows when, I think you said that earlier,
when
when
you're
you're not always looking for what's
the danger.
wrong
Yeah.
or what needs to be fixed.
Yeah. So when you're focusing on what am I creating? Really, so it's more like the visioning piece. What do you want to see your life look like? What is it going to feel like when you can come home and maybe you make enough money and you have a cleaning lady? Like, wouldn't that feel great when you come home and everything's clean and put away and you're just like, oh, okay, I can start dinner without having to do all the dishes from last night. Who am I becoming? Am I embodying all of the elements of the person I want to see, who I can best mentor the people coming up behind me?
Yes. And what matters to you? Where do
Mhm.
you want to put your energy?
Yeah.
Do you know, a lot of the time in my work, I see people saying they want one thing, but their energy is going in a direction that is not that thing, whether it is a healthy relationship or a new place to live or an education, or it can be so many different things. Know thyself and to have an awareness about your own desires and your own needs so that you can take your energy and put it in the direction of what's next for you and what you find meaningful and purposeful.
That makes me think about the having to do the work part.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Because you do the work and then you are wondering, who am I becoming
yeah,
now?
yeah.
We talk about having different versions of ourselves.
Or if you want to go back to school, you
Mm-hmm.
actually have to fill out the application to do it.
Yeah.
You can keep talking
Yeah.
about it,
Yep.
but then that diploma is never going to end up in your hand.
And
Just like
again,
flipping the burgers.
exactly. And again, Martin Luther King once said, you don't have to look at the entire staircase, just look at the first step. I think we get really overwhelmed, and a lot of our anxiety and depression that people listening feel, some people feel, is just that I have to figure everything out by Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we don't. We need to lean back, take a breath, or 17 or 487 breaths, and just trust. And that can be to me, that's a very spiritual thing to do. You can't always trust yourself to figure it out, but you can lean on those that support you or those that you love and those that we can't see, the divine too. The angels.
Eventually,
Yeah,
everything works itself out
it really
one way or
does.
another.
It really does. And sometimes it is hindsight that when we're in the middle of things that are really heavy, we can't always see them. So it's later that we do make sense of what we thought was happening to us was so happening for us.
Mhm.
And that's a really important question to ask yourself. But it's also when you're in the middle of something, it's a really important thing to know that whatever you're going through, again, I kind of feel like it goes back to, okay, we know what we want, but God has a better idea of what is best for us than we do. So when we are redirected, there is a certain trust that's really important. It may not be making sense to you at all. I mean, really traumatic things happen, right? Someone can lose a child, and that is a traumatic thing, no question. But then it could lead to creating a foundation where certain laws are changed. I have a friend named Robbie DeBoer, and I don't know if you remember back in the day, there was a book she wrote called Finding Jessica. I actually saw her on CNN when I was a kid, and this was a big story before I'd met her. And she had a child that she had adopted, and years into it, the biological parents were able to
Take her back?
yes. And Robbie's journey, what she thought was going to be, I'm going to have this child, turned into changing laws, adoption laws across America. So you can really be in the throes of something bad, what you think is bad. But if you keep the trust, and she went on to have another child, but it can turn into, it's always going to turn into, honestly, something really great. Don't worry that you can't see what it is. If you're at your wit's end, if you're at the end of your rope, hold the course. Hold the course and see things through, because you're meant to see all the blessings that come through your trials and tribulations, and they will. 100%. They always do. And sometimes the blessings so outweigh, in some way or another, what you would call a trauma or a really difficult situation.
We highly recommend seeking out specialized support. While we have discovered that together we have 15 years, a combined 15 years of higher education. So we're not doctors, but we went to school long enough to be doctors. Definitely,
Or therapists.
yeah, seek out counselors, therapists, doctors,
Life coaches.
yeah, whatever you need to be successful. Asking for help,
Spiritual teachers.
yes.
Clergy.
Asking for help is the first step. It's the hardest, but it's the first step in creating a better life sometimes. So we always want you to know that we support you in doing that.
We do. And we love being here, and we hope you've enjoyed our time together today.
Remember, listener, I did challenge you, as soon as you're done listening to this podcast, within the next 24 hours, please find somebody and say something nice to them, help grow the collective light. And as always, we want to hear from you. So if there's something that resonated or something you have questions on, you can always get us at livingwithpurposepod@gmail.com. And until next time, keep on keeping on.
Thank you for listening today.
Please be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the Living with Purpose podcast.
And help us and someone you know by sharing today's episode.